Welcome to April's Garage. I am in the Car Simps set. Can I say in the set? On the set of the Car Simps. Of course, you know this stud, Tyler Hoover of Hoovie's Garage.
I failed to let Jake know that we were doing this, so we didn't bring the normal audio, so I have to lean over to speak. So instead, it's going to be like Ace Ventura. Excuse me, I'd like to ask you a few questions as I speak.
So, Elliot Elvis, right here, Rob Santori. How do you guys qualify to do this podcast? Like, you have so many friends, I feel like. How did you rope them in to do this?
How did I select them?
I feel like Tyler needs to answer that question, not us.
How did I select them? Well, the ones that would do it for free, I guess. No, I don't know. No, I mean, Elliot is very much a contemporary of us, working for Worldwide Auctions, and came on the show already once to talk about how much of a simp that he is. And Rob has always been a great storyteller and has been desperate to get his face on camera. I don't know.
That's what you're going to go with?
Really? I don't know.
Desperate to get this face on camera.
So wait, Rob, you have your moment right now to get back at Tyler, because I wanted to ask, you've known him for a lot longer than I have. How would you describe Tyler Hoover to somebody who hasn't met him yet?
Oh, have you ever...
Don't hold back.
Really? Okay, he said I didn't have to. Like, the first thing that comes to mind is like a friendly volcano.
Ooh.
It's like a volcano that, it's hanging out for a while and it's great, but if you kick it a couple times, it explodes, and you kind of marvel from a distance. You're like, wow, look at that. And then it, eventually dries out, and then we're good. So, I mean, honestly...
That could be interpreted so many different ways.
True.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I am a simp, so...
Yeah.
So, a volcano for Tyler. Okay, I like that.
A volcano of love.
A volcano of
not
love.
that. A friendly volcano.
I was going to ask you what's the biggest eruption, but I feel like you probably can't even talk about that.
Oh, there's been a few. The biggest one? Well, I've been blocked. You've been blocked.
Yes, that's true. Those I wouldn't even call I like the impersonate eruptions.
Well, we can't really talk about why Elliot was blocked, but we can talk about why Rob was blocked.
I got blocked for, not selling Tyler a car.
That you did say you were going to.
It was a culmination of many things, because he was supposed to sell me this 65 or 66 Mustang Fastback.
Right.
That I would have given him $35,000 for.
30
or 35. 35 is what I would have given you for it.
30.
We went out and bought it together. I got the 66 Corvette 427. He got this Mustang. I told him, man, I want this Mustang, especially after I had to sell my Shelby.
Right.
But, man, Rob, your car is the perfect one for me to take and do what I want, because I had a 66 Fastback before, but it was in a weird green color, and it just... There was a lot of stuff that I didn't like about it that I wanted to start with a nicer one to build into and I told Rob all this over and over again.
Can I translate what you just said?
He's really dragging this.
No. Let me translate what
Then he impulsively sells it to a car dealer the moment he needs money to paint his house or something like that.
But
this is Rob's
I'm not the first
life.
phone call. He's just like, and he sells it for like 10 grand less than what I would have paid for it.
28 versus 30. Now wait,
let
me translate everything you just said.
Now Rob gets his turn to retort.
So...
But we're not
Tyler had a beautiful story about all the times he told me he wanted to buy that car.
Right.
Here's how it went. This was probably about a year and a half before I sold the car.
Oh, there's the car right there.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I do miss it.
It had a nice patina.
Basically, hey, if you ever sell that car, I might be interested.
Why didn't you like that green?
That was
beautiful.
it.
No,
that's all I got.
So Rob has this issue, and his wife can verify, where you'll be having a conversation with him, and he will be looking you right in the eye, and then his phone comes out. And it's weird. And then he starts looking down at his phone right when you're looking at him in the face.
That's true.
And you're having a conversation with him. He will just start looking down, and he will totally, at least when the phone's out, he tunes you out. But he has this huge issue with not active listening. It's a big problem. So he did that to the Mustang, and then I gave him for a Christmas special my ML55.
Oh,
yeah. Here we go.
And rather than call me up and say, hey, you want this ML55 back because it's a very important part of my YouTube history and all that stuff, he sells it as a project not running to the same dealer for like $2,000.
$1,200.
$1,200.
Maybe $500. I might have just given it to him for charity. I don't remember at this point.
Which I mean, I would have gotten it back. I would have bought it for $2,000. I would have fixed all the stuff again, and then sold it again, and had it go through my YouTube channel again, because it's one of the most important cars of my history.
Okay. This is a less friendly version of
all
Volcano.
This. Of course, I blocked his ass. Of course.
Yes.
Wouldn't you?
No, wait. again, retort.
Okay,
Am I allowed to
retort.
retort
hold
to
on.
this
Yes.
one?
I think what the overall theme he's getting at here is impulsivity, which you do
Right.
have an issue with.
Correct.
Okay. long
This
how
is
about-
actually intervention for your
Now,
impulsivity.
retort.
Yes.
Would you also say that he has a problem with texting communications, Elliot?
Oh yeah, you selectively respond.
Yes. So
You
I-
never solicited me on the ML55.
Right, but I've
and
also-
you never solicited me on the fastback Mustang.
You respond to 0.0003% of any text I ever send. So,
You never answer the phone.
fair. But also, hold on. ML
So anyway,
retort.
guys, this
sound like you're a
podcast,
throuple,
guys,
like-
I'm a phone call guy, and you don't pick up the phone.
That's fair. That is fair. But retort on the ML. A week after the thing was over, I was like, "Are you ever going to want this back?" And quote unquote, "No, I'm done with it. I've already gotten all my use out of it. Done.
You need,
Done,
to
done."
you need to screenshot these moments in the
well,
future.
that was a talking one because he won't respond to a text.
See, there
There
it
you
is.
go, there it is.
I,
Yeah, I
I
think-
remember how pivotal this was to the channel.
Don't rub it in.
I know he would have liked
No,
to have had
you're
it back.
egging him on now.
I think I did sell it for $500. I can't
And that's
remember, but
that's
So
in Rob's driveway.
There it is.
too.
Yeah,
that is in my driveway. Yeah,
my
that is.
stolen ML55. So actually, yeah. Why did I have Rob on this podcast?
I don't know. Well,
don't
let's
know.
move on to Elliot.
Anyway,
Elliot, I can't really go into
well,
why.
let's
I
not go
blocked
into the
him.
blocking so
Well,
much.
Elliot, my
But
question.
we've known each other for years.
Right, you've known him forever. How would you describe Tyler to someone who's never even met him before?
I think Jake said it best. No, I can't tell
Yeah,
that.
now you have
Oh
to.
wow, yeah, I did.
Are we all just gonna say Tyler's an asshole?
No, I believe it was somebody was asking what Tyler's like in person. And I believe the summary was he's an awkward a-hole.
Oh,
Socially
And,
awkward a-hole.
oh, so now we're going to what Jake
This
trying to
No,
defend me
but
on the internet.
This isn't necessarily about Jake, but I was like,
But
okay.
that's what you would say
'Cause the
about
first,
him.
No, because the first few times I interacted with him, I was like, this guy hates me. And it turns out that's not the way it is. It's just sometimes he's like, yeah, whatever. And he just doesn't elaborate that much. And
Right.
it comes off as sometimes like, oh man, I really rubbed this guy the wrong direction. But he's not. And then there's moments where he's the complete opposite of that, obviously.
Now you're just digging out of your hole that you just dug.
No, he knows. It's been plastered.
Was it you that said he was a little
no,
forced?
I'm
forced
allowing
dumpy?
you guys to make a
Forrest
video
Gumpy.
where
That's
basically
funny.
everybody's going to think I'm a jerk, which is
No,
I know, no.
Friendly. I did not say an asshole volcano.
I didn't say
said
that.
a friendly.
You are very friendly.
You are a very friendly,
They're totally digging out right
good-natured,
now.
good-hearted guy until we
Really
make
hard.
you mad.
But here's the thing: we've spent a lot of time together. We've gone on trips together. We've had our families are around the same ages, as far as kids and stuff go.
Right. So you get along.
He's a nice guy.
Okay. We can move on. Here's another real question. I want to know who has the worst taste in cars.
Oh, that's tough.
Ooh. Well, you like Priuses and Corvettes. I
That
mean,
is
I'm going to
true.
have a
C4
lot of
Corvette.
people
Yeah.
on my
That's
side.
true. Okay,
Wait.
but yours is so all over the map that it's difficult.
You
and also, I do
specifically-
like the X6M.
That's
You specifically like
hideous.
C4s.
I do specifically like
Why?
C4s. It's okay. We had a whole podcast on
Okay.
this.
Yes. So watch the podcast if you want to see
But
the
the reason
lengthened
why is I don't
version.
just blanketly think they're the best Corvettes or whatever. I think they're very special to me. They were like the formative
There we
car when I was growing up. These is what my dad had. So like, you go in your mind when you're like
Sure.
4 and 5, you're like, that is the coolest thing ever. And yes, they got better and stuff like that. But there's some part of me as a child that's still like,
I
oh,
get
that's
it.
the
You're
coolest one ever.
nostalgic.
And
to
one of my
this.
first cars was a C4 Corvette. I've had several of them. I still have one. Tyler complains that I never drive it, but I don't. And he's right.
don't.
He's right. But I have a soft spot for them. I know that there are better cars. I mean,
Better than a C2? Which is like, for me, that's like the pinnacle Corvette car.
see, that's the thing. We also had to rank these on the
Right.
podcast. It kills me because I have a thing for each generation. Like,
Yeah.
and I just love them. But it's just like when you boil it down, it's like, what was the most special to me? And it's these.
Right.
But that being said, I've driven every generation, like thanks to multiple opportunities. And like, I mean, the C8 is an amazing vehicle.
Right.
So it's like, I can't sit here and be like, the C4 is better than the C8. That's insane. It's not. The C4 is special to me.
Sure.
But as you also said, I do like Priuses. And I think,
That makes
that
sense.
should be said. I kind of got one initially as a joke
Right.
to counteract the Hellcat because I was like, it's funny. They're opposites. And then I was like, actually, this is a great car.
Right.
And I started I've convinced several other car guys to get them. They're great dailies. I mean, Tyler's had one.
Yeah, they're great dailies, so you're not
Tyler's
worried
had
about
several.
crashing them. 'Cause
Yes.
they're- Okay, anyway.
Well, he's kind of like you hear about prematurely balding or prematurely gray.
I am that.
He's prematurely becoming a boomer, basically.
With that
the C4
C4,
Corvette.
yeah.
And his choice in shorts and things, which
Yes.
thankfully he's wearing pants because we've had two of these where he's worn short shorts and unfortunately exposed the audience as he's uncrossing his
I'm
legs.
going to expose the audience
Was that
here.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
No.
He was
You've infected
specifically
all
doing
the
that.
audience.
I think it's Sharon Stone.
I've heard the audience feedback,
yeah.
and I have worn jeans now.
Okay, good. Wait, like this podcast, where do you see it going? Like, what is your general direction of it?
So I think we should talk about why it's different, because there's a
Right.
lot of car podcasts
Yeah.
out there. What separates us is we don't just kind of, first of all, we never really talk about modern goings on. We talk about interesting historical car moments or things that are, figures around automotive, the industry, and things that we really dive deep into them, as Tyler likes to say, like read between the lines and find these stories that you might have a knowledge of, but we take deep dives on them. And each week, Rob and I take turns of pretty much extensively researching topics and really taking deep dives into various automotive themes.
I don't have to dive deep. So every week, every the week they do it, and then I get to listen to it.
And
all
yes,
that stuff.
Tyler chimes in, derails us, makes jokes, and he's obviously, with all of you guys know, with all of his experience, he's got some experience with pretty much whatever we're bringing to the
Right.
table.
We do have one big problem, though.
What is
Other than me doing this to the camera every single time, I feel like this
big
is really
problem.
weird.
Yeah.
People hate the name.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Carson.
hate it.
But
They
so
hate it.
this is what's interesting to me. Everybody I've told in person literally goes, "Ha, I love it." But if you look at the comment section, it's change the name is like top comment.
Immediately.
Really? Okay, so that's surprising. So Car Simps, Tyler wanted to rename April's Garage Car Simps originally.
Yes.
And I felt like when we're doing stuff on television, we can't say April Rose from Car Simps. Kind of sounded like
That's true.
a little unprofessional, I guess.
see
But
that.
not that it really matters. But I was like, so then he's like, I'm going to take it and name our podcast with that.
Yeah,
And we
and-
were sitting in a group with a group of guys, and a lot of the guys thought it was really cool. And I'm like, am I making a mistake? Should I keep it Car Simps?
Freddie thought it was a bad idea.
But he was the
Tavares.
only one
Yes.
that
But
we
it
heard
seems
in
like
person.
But it seems like
I mean, my parents, who are, they love it. They're like, that's funny.
I think it's great. I
know,
think you should
it-
stick with it. Are you thinking about changing it?
Well,
I
I think
think
we are
so,
now
yeah.
because
Okay.
there's been a lot of pushback.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if there's any suggestions for the podcast to change the name, let us know. I have one last question. This is to judge which one of you I like the best.
Oh, gosh.
Depending on how you
No
answer
pressure.
this question. You might get some extra points because you're so sexy. Ready? Ready.
Sure. I
hit
don't.
it.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Grand National?
oof.
Okay. I think I like them. I'm a GM guy, so I have a little thing. I mean, for me, its big thing was being faster than the C4 Corvette, which of course you'd think it makes me not like it. But I always thought it was an impressive package. I love a sleeper type design. It's got everything. They launch so crazy. They feel amazing off the line. You can get them in T-top. I mean, what's
Pretty
not to
good.
like?
Pretty good.
I
like
would
that.
say on my side of it, I think that it is probably one of the best looking cars GM ever came out with.
Whoa.
It's sinister.
Okay,
It's
you're
unassuming.
brown-nosing.
Hold on. No. I'm gonna hear me out.
Okay.
It's super unassuming, but it. What in the world?
This is my new podcast.
All right then. Well,
Oh, man.
you'll be a millionaire in a
You'll
month.
eclipse us soon.
All right. So, anyways, you didn't put that up for his.
He
Okay.
derailed you so
Yeah,
hard.
good
Yeah.
derail on that one.
I'm chopping as fast as I can right now.
Well, I remember when they came out, and I remember even as a kid being like, "Oh my god!" Like it's all blacked out, like
Right.
murdered out. They're just wicked looking cars. They just have such a presence. And now today, you know what it's like immediately. You see it, you know what it is. Other than some people have the GNX versus it,
Right.
trying to pick out which is which. But it's just such a cool, like it's a timeless design. It's just to me, it's like the perfect sleeper, like domestic. Just road cruiser. I just love it, and you can make them look. I mean, they look at that. I mean,
Well,
those are just.
There's
they're
a
just.
seam of
I
it
like
right
it because
there.
it was the
Really
last
cool.
exciting car that Buick pretty much made.
Right.
Also,
But you
after
like a-
this, they leaned into the brand that they are.
Well, let's see what Tyler has to say about the Grand National.
It is Darth Vader on wheels. It is a classic, but it's not something that's ever going to look old and tired. It's definitely striking and distinct in the way that it looks, and the performance was unreal for its time and still is pretty darn impressive today. It's a masterpiece.
But is it one of the best cars GM has ever designed, like Rob said?
I
better
think
than that.
the Buick Park Avenue Ultra comes.
I think Rob
Forget
was.
it.
I think Rob was
Comes
brown nosing with his
close.
answer.
No, I mean
No.
it
You
really
think,
is.
you think it's one of the best car they've ever made?
Bring it in. Thank you. Oh, that's my guy right here. Okay.
Well,
Rob
I should have.
is
I
my
should have brown.
favorite.
I should have brown nosed more.
Well, now,
I was
so
getting
far-
a genuine answer.
I've gotten a hug. You've gotten a trophy.
You
That's
got
true.
trophy. And Tyler, you just get me.
I need a Claritin D.
You do sound like you're
Oh.
sick. All right. Well, check out Car Simps, soon to be named something else. What is it going to be named? Maybe you can come up with the name.
Help us out.
Thanks so much for watching.